everybody, it's me, Shaw360, and I use my cell phone all the time to do these lives. Well, I had Spotify on before I did the live, and it just kept playing, and I was really worried that it was going to keep playing while I was doing this, but it cut off, so that's good. I'm in the car with Stevie.
Hi.
Yeah, and I'm in the car with Stevie doing this live, one, because I haven't done any recording about anything in a really long time. Two, I know I owe you guys my review of the discography of Boys Next Door and Racine. That is coming. That is coming. I just haven't filmed it yet because I need to write better notes. Because I have been listening to the music. Racine, the notes will be very short. Boys Next Door, the notes will be a little bit longer, but that's coming. But I have to talk about SM. So let's talk about SM. I am a Shawwal. So let's just start with that. I'm a Shawwal, which means.
It's in the title of the username.
Thanks for that, friend.
Shawa360.
Thanks. So I'm a Shawwal, right? And because of that, I think you guys know that I have had a love-hate relationship with SM for a number of reasons. Very upset about the way they treated Jonghyun's legacy after he passed. I mean, made no secret about that. Was very happy that they continued to promote SM. They continued to promote Shiny even after Jonghyun passed, so that was good. I have been upset with things that I've seen in terms of the things that they let K-nets get away with when it comes to Shiny, complaints that people have had, didn't really like it. But for the most part, the fact that they let Shiny continue being Shiny, that really did color my opinion of SM, even though SM had every reason for me to hate them. But then when Taemin and Onu left SM, I was like, okay, maybe things aren't as good at the label as I thought. What?
Spider!
Kill it. Just kill it. I told you there was a spider in here.
Where is it?
Oh my god. No, I killed it, but I killed it. You guys, literally a spider was crawling on the ceiling and then it jumped on Stevie and I had to slap it off Stevie. Oh my god. This is the second time I've done a live stream where a spider was involved. Not in the car, but years and years ago during COVID, I did this live stream with me, Alex, Jade, and Mason, and there was a spider crawling across the pillow that I had to kill. And I was trying to be really secretive and like not give away that I was like being crawled on by a spider. I'm like, ah! So, yeah. Anything can happen when we're doing these live streams, people. This is not pre-recorded, it's live. Let's go back. I've had many reasons to not like SM as a Shawwal. Like I said, Taemin leaving, Onu leaving, it really made me feel like maybe SM wasn't as good as they could have been. And before Jonghyun passed away, I wasn't the biggest fan of SM because I didn't like the way they treated Onu's scandal. I thought that shit was weird. For those of you who don't remember, Jonghyun had a dating scandal when he was alive, and SM almost put him out of Shiny. True story. He was dating Shin Sekyung, and they got caught by Dispatch, I believe, or was it Ilbin Sports? It might have been Ilson Sports. Anyway, they got caught on a date holding hands. Not even kissing, holding hands. They published the pictures, and it was like the first big dating scandal in Korea, and it kind of started the whole Dispatch thing. Anyway, K-nets came out, were like, you need to get him out the team. No one likes him. Boys shouldn't be allowed to date, yada, yada, yada. And almost put him out the group. That's why Shiny all of a sudden got really popular in Japan, because they started releasing all their shit in Japan because they could not promote in Korea. And part of the reason why the beginning of Sherlock is Shiny's back is because they had been gone from Korea for, I want to say maybe 2, almost 3 years at that point, because they could not promote in Korea because of the K-nets. So that's a little bit of history for you on SM. All right, so going backwards, we've already done that. Let's go to today. It was recently announced that Seunghan from Rise, or Reese, I guess, Reese is how you say it. I'm not a fan, not an anti, but I don't really listen to them that much. He was a member of the group that had got put out the group, I think either right before they had their first debut or right after their debut. I cannot recall the timing. He'd been put out the group because it was exposed that before he became an idol, he used to smoke cigarettes and he had girlfriends plural. He
At
actually
the same
dated.
time,
No, just more than one in his life,
and
and probably had sex with her.
and
That's how an international fan reacts, because we expect people to have a life. We expect you need to live a life in order to make art. But K-nets were like, how dare he not be a virgin? How dare he not be completely drug and alcohol free?
let me ask you a very fair question.
Hmm.
Do you think of some of your favorite K-pop songs by boy bands, and if they wrote it, do you think virgins could have written that song? Yes or no?
They literally have a song called Talk Saxy. What should a virgin know about talking saxy? Like, seriously. So, anyway, he's out the group. They're continuing to have comebacks. He's not a part of the comebacks, but SM doesn't officially kick him out the group. He's just not promoting while he's in a period of reflection. Well, at the beginning or middle of last week, SM, the boys from the group, and Seunghan announced that he is returning to the group. And everyone is excited. Even me. I even tweeted, like, I will buy this comeback because I had quit buying K-pop. Like, Stevie could tell you, I have not bought a drop of K-pop this year. So, even me, who doesn't buy K-pop anymore, I was going to buy this album because I'm like, finally, SM is standing up to these fucking nutbags and these freaks. And then, within, I want to say a 24-hour news cycle, perhaps, he announces, Seunghan announces that he is no longer going to return to the group. He is leaving SM, and things are just going to go back to normal. And SM releases a statement that he's no longer a part of the company, no longer a part of the group. And this is, in that 24-hour span we're talking about here, this is K-nets pulling together fundraisers to buy funeral wreaths to put outside SM for this young man to see as he goes in and out the building, to let him know he is dead. You're dead to us. You should die. This is the message they sent to a young man. And I think we all are on the same page. At least the people who watch me, we're all on the same page in terms of understanding this is unhinged behavior. This is beyond just mere bullying. This is literally death threats. Honestly, these are death threats. And he would be well within his rights if this was in America to just start blazing, just go to town. But he's in Korea, where being polite means a lot. And so, of course, he's not going to just tell him that he thinks that they're a pack of assholes and that this shit is unhinged and they should get a life. Maybe they should get some dick and calm down. He's not going to do that. I will do it for you. You crazy bitches need to get dick down. You guys need to find a fucking life. You guys need to remember what the fuck is going on in your country and why this shit is even crazier than it is just on a regular Saturday, Sunday. You're literally talking about men in Korea who are doing sexual images of their family members and passing them around on Telegram. There are men in Korea who are so mad that pregnant women can jump the line or have a special reserved seat in movie theaters that they go to movie theaters and sit in these seats because they feel like pregnant women don't deserve to have favorable advantages. You have men who literally will commit rape and then tell the rape victim, I will embarrass you by showing people images of your rape. Therefore, you should be quiet. Not I should be embarrassed because I filmed me raping you, but you should be quiet because won't you be embarrassed if people find out I raped you? You're dealing with men who are scummy as shit, who are recording upskirts on people on the train, who are putting hidden cameras in rooms with women that they're sleeping with. You're talking about men who continuously vote for political leaders who want to diminish the rights of women, foreigners, gay people. Let's not even talk about trans rights. All of these things are happening in your country. And Korean women have been raising their hands and saying, please, international eyes, take a look at this. Try to convince these men that Korea is the laughing stock of the international scene because we're allowing this shit to happen. But then y'all turn around and exhibit the exact same behavior that these men exhibit whenever they hear a female idol is dating, or that she's reading a feminist book, or that, you know, perhaps she's not the girl you think she is, and she says as such. It is wild to me that people's idea of freedom is being the oppressor. That's their fucking freedom fantasy. Because it's like that with black men when it comes to America. A lot of black men, their idea of freedom is to be as oppressive to black women as white men have been to them. And yeah, I'm getting racial, but you know what? This is a grown-up channel, okay? If you can't handle it, you need to get the fuck on.
Smash the hoteps.
But I'm saying as much. It seems like people who experience oppression, their idea of freedom is to be oppressive to somebody else. And I cannot believe these dizzy bitches don't realize how fucking silly and hypocritical they are being. Like, girl, get up. Wake up. See what you're doing. Y'all are worried about the rest of the world thinking that the men in Korea look backwards and shit. You've got Billboard writing articles about how crazy K-nets are, about the fact that y'all tried to poison Yuno to death, about the fact that you bitches are always pulling some shit like this. Y'all got Henry Lau kicked out of Super Junior because, like, he's not Korean. Y'all are always pulling this shit, and I don't care if you don't want to watch me no more. I don't, because personally, I don't think anyone in Korea is watching me, so that would be wild if this is what makes you stop watching. I don't care. Y'all look weird. Y'all look weird, and I hope that if the group decides to stay together and continue to promote, I hope every fucking fan sign they have, they don't smile, they don't touch hands, they don't play games, they don't wear your little fucking bracelets and fairy ring headsets and all that other shit y'all like to bring. I hope they give you the driest fucking fan service that the law will allow. I hope SM doesn't make any more money on the group. I hope they find that because they can't sell albums outside of Korea, that this group is no longer profitable for them. But now let me talk to international fans, because I need y'all to understand something, because it seems like y'all don't get it. And this is very important. This is a talking point that I've needed to have with you guys for a really long time. A lot of international fans were like, we're going to boycott. We're going to boycott because we need to show SM that they can't do this to us. Now, I don't know about Chinese fans, and I can't tell you about Japanese fans. I'm strictly talking about American fans, American stands, European fans and stands, maybe some South American stands and fans. In Africa, I'm assuming that we're in the same pot as well. The idea that international fans' opinions will ever matter to Korean companies will always be laughable. Don't make me laugh. Don't piss me off. They will never care about our opinions. They care about our money. And right now, K-pop is in a slump. When you walk into Target, when you walk into Walmart, those albums aren't selling like they used to, friends. People aren't into K-pop like they used to be. First of all, we're in a recession. Let's get that straight right now. Part of what made BTS pop off as much as they did and sell the kind of albums that they did was that it was a new phenomenon, number one. But number two, BTS really started selling albums before the pandemic started. So let's be honest about that. Before the pandemic started, K-pop popped off in a big way. Blackpink got really popular before the pandemic. BTS got really popular before the pandemic. And people who were starting to explore the genre were really starting to not only pay attention, but buy albums, buy concert tickets, etc., etc. And we did okay after the pandemic. But what we're experiencing right now is the same thing that happened after 9/11, to be honest with you. Before 9/11, and this is a history lesson from a bitch who's 45 years old. Before 9/11, Britney Spears, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, 98 Degrees, Christina Aguilera. You think about that kind of bubblegum pop fun music, all of that shit was hitting before 2001. Then September 11th happened. And when everyone was thrown into chaos, nothing was fun anymore. People didn't want to joke. People didn't want to be bright and pink and fun and fabulous. People started to really get introverted. People started to get emo. The emo scene popped off after 9/11.
Evanescence.
And people really didn't want to hear that shit no more. And those groups all had to change in response. Backstreet Boys became virtually a touring only group. They quit releasing albums as much as they used to. NSYNC has never had another album since Celebrity. Britney, she managed to stay on top, but she went through her drama. If we all remember the MTV Awards where she was singing Give Me More and looked dazed.
You have 9/11 to thank for My Chemical Romance.
Christina Aguilera, her career never really popped off after that. You know, people changed. And right now, the pandemic, it did a lot to people. A lot of people lost family. A lot of people lost jobs. A lot of people, including myself and my family, have had huge financial setbacks because the money that we made pre-pandemic doesn't go nearly as far as it did after the pandemic. Value menus that used to have dollar burgers now have a $2 burger as the value menu price. That is a 100% increase in price. So a lot of the extra money people had to buy K-pop albums, the money people had to go see K-pop tours, the money people had to buy bubble subscriptions and all these other things, it's not there anymore for a lot of people. A lot of people are trying to prioritize, how can I pay my bills? How can I pay the utilities? How can I make sure I'm eating shit other than ramen? All of these things are happening right now. And K-pop companies know that. The reason why there was such a push for Cat's Eye to be out in the market is because they realized new K-pop groups just aren't breaking into the scene the same way that they used to. More than likely, New Jeans will be the last big K-pop group of like newer generation to really have an impact in Western music. Illit came in, they went. They were a TikTok sound. 50/50 came in, they went. Cupid was a TikTok sound. It's not the same environment that it used to be. And back when we were selling millions of albums and the market was still open and there were signs that there was still growth in the Western market, yeah, an SM might be more likely to hear what an international fan had to say. They might be more likely to try to move a little bit differently than they would have in the past. The problem is, it's not there anymore. The growth is not really there. aespa, New Jeans, they're kind of the last big hurrah, if you will. And now, because they're thinking, these K-pop companies, about longevity, they're thinking, who are our core audiences? Who always buys the albums? And you know who always buys the albums? K-nets. K-nets always buy the albums. K-nets always get a tour. China buys albums, will get a tour. And even China has really quit trying to buy albums like that. Japan, they're not even marketing K-pop in Japan the way that they used to. That market, even, they're just not doing the same things they used to do to make the money they used to make. They don't care like they used to. So one of the things that I say is that, yes, international fans, we should definitely stand by a boycott, see what happens. But I'm telling you now, if you think that SM is ever going to care about our opinions in the long run, that JYP is ever going to care about them, that Hype really is ever going to care about them, you're making a grave mistake and you're misunderstanding the situation. We're not in a situation where Western money is the dominant source of income for K-pop anymore. It's not that way. There's still a lot of money to be made, but now when you see 17 selling millions of albums, a lot of those albums are coming from Chinese fans. A lot of them are really digging into the market. So I say all that to say, it's upsetting to me. It is upsetting to me that SM is such a spineless coward for one, getting this young man's hopes up and failing to protect him. It saddens me that the other members who were ready to face the storm with this young man and try to persevere as a group now have to hang their heads in shame and to be sad and to no longer trust that fans love them the way that they said that they loved them. I feel bad that this sends a message to other idols that you have to be extra careful because anything you do could cause you to lose the love and fan the fandom and the following, that you have to be something other than human. I'm really sad that that's the case. And also, low key, we've always talked about, when are we going to have an out idol? When are we going to have an idol from a major group who is out?
Are you ready for an out idol?
Baby, if they won't let you smoke cigarettes and fuck heterosexually, do you really think that we're ready for a gay idol? It will continue to be the same facade we've had for years, where there's idols who are obviously gay and are, giving sass and yes sis and stuff on television, but we never see them with anybody. And we never see them in videos with a female protagonist. Like, it's always going to be some shit like that, because Korea pays a lot of lip service to rights. Korea pays a lot of lip service to modernity. Korea pays a lot of lip service to wanting to be a part of the international scene. But Korea really is, they're just as backwards as everybody else is, number one. And number two, they really are just as bad as the people they hate. They really are just as bad. They're just as xenophobic. They're just as racist. They're just as homophobic. They're just as patriarchal. They're just as misogynistic as every fucking body else. And I think that the reason why this conversation is near and dear to my heart at this very moment in time, and why I got out of my silence to do this talk, is because there is a woman at my job who has real plans to move her husband, and her children to Korea. She says it's something she's been wanting to do for years, that she's been watching Korean culture and YouTubers who talk about Korea, and she just knows that she would be so happy if she was there. And she literally just left for vacation to go to Korea. And I tried to tell her, like, hey, I've been following K culture for a really long time. As a woman, especially a black woman, I wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable being in Korea. And she's like, oh, well, I think the thing is that Korea is different than America, and that, they don't let the girls walk around with their titties out and their shorts and skirts up super high. And they're just a really polite society. And that's something, and that's okay, because I'm super polite, and so it'll be fine. And I realized I was talking to a grown woman. I was talking to a grown woman with kids and a husband. I wasn't going to spend any of my energy, any of my breath, any of my mental capacity to disavow her delusion about what Korea is. Because she's going to go to Korea as a black woman, a middle-aged black woman.
Nah, girl.
She's going to go to Korea as a middle-aged black woman who thinks that she's going to own a tourism business in Korea.
Ooh, nah.
She's going to go to Korea thinking that if I'm just polite enough, I'll be accepted. I'll be welcomed.
Where have you heard that before?
Now, I'm not even going to lie to you. When we first got into K-pop 12, 13 years ago, I remember telling Stevie, like, we need to go to Korea. I was watching a lot of Simon and Martina at the time, and I was going through a divorce. Don't blame me. My mind was in other places. But I was like, Korea could be great for us. I could teach English. It would be fun. It would be so much fun. No. Men are men no matter where the fuck you go. Yeah. Racism is racism no matter where the fuck you go. Right. Misogyny is misogyny no matter where the fuck you go. Right. It's just now I'll be in a country where I don't speak the language. So I won't even be any better off, because I won't understand what the fuck people are saying to me. Yeah. And I could not dissuade her from her idea of what Korea was going to be. Because again, I was talking to a grown ass woman. But at the same time, I also felt like, you have kids. You have brown kids. You're going to be brown kids to Korea. And I've heard so many brown people on Korean television talk about the experiences they have being brown people in Korea. And I just don't see how this is at all a move that I would expose my family to as a grown woman in my right mind after years of observing the culture. But that's the thing. And I think that's the reason why there'll always be a divide between us and them. And I'm not saying this on some racism type shit. I'm saying the difference between us and them will always be that we believe that the fantasy can still exist. That the fantasy of the way that the idol interacts with international fans means that when I go to Korea, Korean people will be like this. We have the fantasy that because we come from places where there are people from all over the place and things aren't super homogenous, that yeah, it'll be like that. I'll be like the Asian people that live around my area. I don't look at them as outsiders. I don't look at them as foreigners. I look at them as fellow Americans. There, where almost everybody around you is Korean, being half white, being half black, being half Filipino, even being half Chinese, even being half Japanese, even being half of anything and not being the whole, puts a target on your fucking back. And in a culture where causing waves and making a disturbance and possibly bringing embarrassment to people is such a big deal that people would condone incest, rape, domestic violence, in America at least. There are a lot of people who won't acknowledge they're being domestically abused because they're embarrassed.
Yeah, it's like it says something about my strength.
Yeah, but they're embarrassed about their own strength. They're embarrassed that they allowed that to happen to them, but they're not embarrassed for people to know because they're going to blame them only, or at least most people. Most people know if I tell my family I'm being beaten, my dad's probably going to go to jail because he's going to kill this person, or my mom's going to go to jail because she's going to kill this person. But most of us don't believe that we can talk our way out of an ass whooping, or that if I'm more respectable, then I can hide this and maybe change my abuser's mind. I literally just read a story, I want to say it was last week, about a Korean girl who had a boyfriend that she was living with who had been beating her. And she went to her mom to tell her mom, my boyfriend has been beating me. And her mom said, why didn't you tell me sooner? And she said, I didn't tell you sooner because my boyfriend surreptitiously filmed me having sex with him. And he told me that if I broke up with him, that he would put my video of me having sex with him all around my university. So the mom went with the daughter to talk to the daughter's boyfriend. Do you know what the boyfriend did?
Killed them.
He killed the daughter and almost killed the mom. Stabbed her like 9 or 10 times. Like she almost bled out. She managed to somehow crawl for help. And when they arrested this man, do you know how many years in prison he got for the murder of one woman and the attempted murder of another? 10 years. Not only that, but Korea has a survivors fund for people who are the surviving family of folks that have been killed due to like violence, murder, things like that. This girl's father, who hadn't been in her life since she was a toddler, because he was her dad, and even though he hadn't supported her, given money, done anything to assist the family, he got half the survivor benefits. The mom, who literally is a recovering attempted murder victim, got half, and the man who had nothing to do with the daughter that is now gone got half. Korea is a different place, man. It is a completely different place. And the more we start to acknowledge that, the better off we'll be in terms of our fantasies of what is and isn't, what is and isn't possible for us, what is and isn't acceptable. It'll at least put us in a place where when we're confronted with the reality of these things, we're not as taken aback. We're not as shocked. And we're not exposing our loved ones and the other people in our life to our fantasies when the reality is so, so much different. And I'm sorry that it has to be like that. I'm sorry, not just for myself, the lady at my job, my daughter, other people, that the fantasy of what could be in life will always be interrupted by the reality. I'm sorry for everybody that has to deal with this. But let's be real. One of the big things that I've said time and time again over the years when it came to morality, because we've had cases of idols doing drugs, we've had cases of idols smoking a little marijuana, we've had cases of idols that have not been the best boyfriends in the world, honestly. I'm talking about you, Lucas, abandoning animals. We've had idols do all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, do you know who gets a second chance? The idols who have been accused of rape. The idols who have been accused as males of abusing women. That's who gets the second chance in Korea. It's never been that the idol who did drugs gets the second chance. except for G-Dragon. He's probably the exception. And even then, a decade later, he was accused of doing weed again. But it's never the people who commit nonviolent crimes that don't hurt other people. It's always the person who hurts another individual who gets the second chance. And it's been like that time and time and time and time and time and time again. The guy from SS 501, he's still out there. Fucking what's his face? Mickey from DBSK, still out there. Still having fan meets. Still smiling and taking pictures. People still paying to see them. It's out there. That's who gets the fucking second chance. And it's always been that way. So for us to operate as if we're going to all of a sudden change people's minds, no, we're not gonna. We're not gonna. Anyway, I just wanted to hop on and say that because, I don't know how many baby fans. Hey, David. I don't know how many baby fans are out there who are still kind of living under the delusion that Korea has something good for us here. If you're a beautiful young woman who's extremely talented and comes from a background of independent wealth, there may be something for you in Korea if you're not a natural Korean citizen or not of Korean ethnicity. There might be something out there for you. The rest of us need to get on our grind, make something of our own lives, mind the business that pays us, and find a way to live life where we're at. Because the fantasy is not there. And the fantasy hasn't been there. And SM being SM is not just SM being SM, it's fucking Korea being Korea. A fact. Thank you guys for watching. Stevie, say bye to the people.
Bye.
All right, then. I'll see y'all later. Bye.